I think you're good.
Okay.
Say hi to Amanda Peterson.
Oh, Amanda's there?
Yeah.
Hey, Amanda. Nice to hear from you. Is she the first one on?
No, I had to restart this
Uh-huh.
due to anyway, technical difficulties.
Johnny on the spot, that's for sure.
I think Karen Eckhoff may have been the first on. Let's see if
Karen
she...
probably want to see Poppy.
Let's see. Let me get on here.
So is it still running?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you want to walk around and do some hindquarter untracking, and
Do you want me to start moving and warming them up at 4, or do you want me to just hang out?
Hey Greg, Amanda said hey.
Nice to hear her words.
Jenny Peterson's on too.
Jenny, we got the whole Peterson clan.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get on here. There we go.
See if Donna Rim gets on.
Okay. Okay, we're doing a. I'm trying to figure out how to get on here.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's picking up me again. I need you to walk away and do a sound test because I don't think it's working. Okay, we're doing a. I'm trying to figure out how to get on here.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's picking up me again. I need you to walk away and do a sound test because I don't think it's working. Yeah, now I can delete this stuff. I know.
Apple Buster. Is it popping? Is one and two popping?
Yeah, they're both popping.
All right. Then all we gotta do is figure out if one's working and one's not. Come on there, pal. Checking 1, 2. Still popping. Still popping. 1, 2, 1, 2. Huh. Well, Dempsey's wanting to get soft today. What a good boy. What a good boy. So nice to feel that starting to happen. Checking, we're good. Good. The girls say we're good. Amanda, Jenny, Karen, checking in. Let us know if you can hear.
I'm running on a lag.
Okay. All right. Testing, testing. Still, we're good? All right. You want me to just leave both microphones on? You yell?
No, it's good. Yeah. That's a very good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, it does have to go to outer space and then come back to you. So I guess that explains a little bit of a lag.
So she's watching. Linda's watching on one phone.
Yeah.
She's texting on one phone. She's responding from Bob's phone.
That's awesome. That's she's like between Donna and Linda, they have 4 phone lines opened up. So that's awesome. That's about technology. If you can't beat them, join them, or else just overwhelm them. No. What do you have to do?
Okay. Technically, I've got 6 minutes. Tell them that.
Technically, we have 6 minutes to get started. And so I should have a story or something to tell to get going in the meantime. I'm trying to think of something fun that's happened this week or something we worked on. It's been a pretty steady week.
I had to go in here as you, not as HLL.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep, everybody said they can hear.
Oh, good. Good. Is there
Gary Dahlquist,
Uh-huh.
Devlin Wallen,
Devlin.
Linda Lacey.
Ah, Lacey.
She wants me. Do you have your hat on because you're getting a sunburn here?
Yeah, no, it's my solar panel. I got to get my solar panel going. So, yeah, I got my hat on. No sunburned bald heads here. We're getting your February weather, Lacey, now that you've gotten winter, turned to winter there. Of course, we wait for everybody to start calving in March and turn to winter. So it's all part of the fun, I guess. It's about the 5th year in recent years that February was better calving than March, I think. So go figure. Can't fool Mother Nature, isn't that the saying?
Devlin says she's going to start riding more.
Good, good.
She might be talking to Linda.
Devlin and Linda might be talking back and forth. I'm not sure. I'm sure they know each other. Devlin said she wants to get a little more riding in, and Devlin and I had an interesting conversation in the last couple of weeks, just bits back and forth about sort of the struggles at staying with what I call the good fight, staying in the good fight. This is a discouraging world that we live in, it seems like for every horse that you have some good changes on, the stone cutters are out there tearing 10 more down, and they can tear them down quicker than we can fix them. So the more people we have doing this, the better. And I always encourage, but especially Devlin's been at this for a long time. He's got some good stuff going, and I wanted to encourage her the other day to not give up. Don't get too discouraged, because if she gets discouraged, then I might get discouraged and have to give up. So neither of us can quit this. So we got too many horses, or too many people are relying on us. So anyhow, keep your chin up, Devlin. And I've had that same conversation with a couple of people here recently. My friend Kim had the same conversation with her the other day. Well, you finally spotted the calves, didn't you? And, you know, it's hard when you're out working every day and you're doing a lot of lessons, you're doing a lot of riding, you're doing a lot of teaching, because everybody draws from you. They do a withdrawal from your heart and your soul, especially if you're like some of these ladies I'm talking about. They live with their heart and their soul in it. And so the downside is it's pretty easy to get burned out. So I was talking with also my friend Kim about, you know, make sure you do some things outside of the horses. Get out and do some other things, whatever that is. And make sure you spend some time with your spouse. Get out there and Kim, you guys probably need to get out and get to dinner once in a while anyhow. So anyhow, take care of yourselves, especially when you're in the mix of this, the middle of this. It is a deep slog, and gosh, it's just, you know, you just need all the help you can get getting through this, because we are all in this together. And the reason I'm doing this Facebook Live is part of it is just to kind of talk about this community, and make sure that everybody in this community is looking out for each other. It's an amazing group. So don't forget to call out, look out for your neighbors, and look out for your friends, and then take the time it needs for yourself, because this is definitely a long race. It's not a sprint, it's an endurance. And so anyhow, that's my encouragement to my friends. We're all in this together. Keep with it.
Steve Hadley says hi.
Steve Hadley, God, we got to get together. We have a long overdue phone call. We got some things we need to talk about. I haven't forgot about you, Steve. I just, you know how it is. You're always just putting out fires. And so anyhow, we'll get together, Steve, for too long.
Peterson said Amanda and I are still looking for our new horses.
Yeah. Jenny and Amanda both are looking for good, gentle horses in the Northwest. So if you guys ever wanted your horses to go to a nice place and have some nice life, keep those gals in mind. They're looking for it. And of course, there's always a big market for good horses. And but the best thing you can do with a good horse is find a good human to be with it, so that it has a good life. So yeah, girls, I haven't forgot about you. And Amanda's got to saddle it. She's got to wear out. So she's got to get that thing wore out. So anyhow, it's nice to be on here early. I don't feel like compelled to entertain everybody. We're just talking, kind of having a visit, kind of getting dialed in here a little bit. I like how he's looking at the calves. We've got calves that live a couple 100 feet from us here. And there's a solid fence between me and the calves. So sometimes they sort of appear above that fence. And they're not Dempsey's favorite thing anyhow. But it will be addressed. Those cattle will be addressed as soon as Dempsey's ready to address that. I've got some ideas. I did have a little breakthrough down here this week on something that was bothering Dempsey. And that's really all I did today was I got in, I put him in a round pen, took a couple laps on him. He looked pretty good. Got on, took a couple laps on him. He got done what I needed to get done in there. So physically, he's not really warmed up at all. Mentally, he's as dialed in as I've ever had him, which means he's kind of with me, which is nice. And he's offered a little bit of softness from time to time. So maybe we're having a little bit of progress here. it's a really hard slog when you come out every day. And it's like we talked about Groundhog Day a few weeks ago. Every day come out and you got to work on the same thing over and over again. And then you start doubting yourself. Am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I working him enough? Am I working him too much? All those things. But you got to trust the system. The system works. It's been proven by my contemporaries, some of you gals that are riding that we're talking to, hundreds, thousands of horses now have made progress on this. So the empirical evidence is that it's there. And so you got to trust the system. The system isn't moving very quickly with Dempsey. He's not an overnight fix. Sometimes you'll get a big breakthrough on the horse. With Dempsey, I'm riding him a little bit more like I would ask one of you guys to ride. And that is not open up too big of a can of worms at any one time. And just put a little 1% polish on him every day and stay really attuned to the fundamentals. So I'm kind of riding him like I'd have you guys ride him, which is part of the purpose here, is to give you guys some ideas on how to do it. He's showing decent signs on the ground. He's still not real soft, but the first time I picked up on the 2 reins today, he acted like he kind of wanted to give it a little pull on the top line, bridle up a little bit, and felt like it would come out on his feet. So how we doing, Donna? Are we at start time yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's 3 after. So we're busy. We're running. All right. All what? Yeah. 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 Steve, he doesn't want these cattle to get herd bound. That's a Western term. Whenever the cattle get herd bound, they need to be roped a little bit. So I don't think I'd want to rope anything on him right yet, Steve. I don't got enough softness coming through this bridle. Me, the calf, or Dempsey would die. My odds are that I'd probably die first. So, but my goal is that I want to get to where I can rope on him and do some things. And we got cattle next door and pens, so we can do some stuff. So yeah, they need a little nylon education once in a while. One of the things I was thinking about this week, because Dempsey had one day where he worked pretty hard. He actually broke a pretty good sweat one day. And that old saying about wet saddle blankets make a good horse. And I've always that always made me burr up just a little bit. Because wet saddle blankets have made a lot of horses. But better yet is quality wet saddle blankets makes really good horses. So never forget the quality of the input. It's not just the exercise, but the quality of it. But sometimes they just need they need to have a little exercise. And much like a teenage boy, the worst thing you can do with a teenage boy is have too much energy, because they're probably going directed towards something probably non-productive. Same thing here. He has had, what's he had off? 3 or 4 days, hon? I guess if Bill and Chris are on, I'm not talking to you, Bill. I'm not calling you honey. Bill's not on, but anyhow, he's had 3 or 4 days off, which is the first time he's had this much time off since we started the project. He's probably had a couple days off, but I don't think he's had 4. So I'm pretty tickled. He feels a little bit like he was ridden yesterday. So if I was going to evaluate him on what I've seen so far today, so far mentally he's dialed in, but he's very sluggish going forward. So immediately in my warm-up, we'll address the impulsion. Make sure I got some transitions, probably some walk trot. I want him coming up forward off my seat, get him coming off my legs. So that's the goal on him. I think I did one rein stop in the round pen. Never hurts to do that, just in case he has a little bit of a fit next door to the calves or something. I make sure I can get him shut down. I don't have to do a lot of repetition on my 1 rein stops once they get soft, once I get to the feet. So I haven't completely got to his feet yet. So he uses a fair bit of repetition. And it's been a long time since we've seen him really yawn horseback. So this is we're having a good day. He had a little bit of a breakthrough. So without going into a lot of detail, and I filmed it because it was perfect, because it had rained and the rain had knocked the sand down, so you could see a lot of tracks. And I took him to the round pen and I filmed, and I don't know, should I talk about the tracks, or do you want to release that little video, Donna? Do you want to use it as a way to get people to visit back and forth about it, or do you want to talk about it? Okay, well, so let me just, attaboy, hang on just a minute. I'm going to give him a second there.
Want to take a question while he's yawning it out?
Sure.
We'll go back to the track.
Yeah, don't let me forget to come back about the tracks.
It's the one from Carmel's
Okay, Carmel's got a question.
5-year-old quarter horse halflinger.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of braced up. Should she work on putting his head down first, or hind quarter, front quarter exercises?
Okay, good question. Carmel's got a new 5-year-old halflinger quarter horse cross. Carmel's, she lost her good horse coach last year. And so she's got some new ones around her, or a new one anyhow. And she's asking the question. She said she's obviously found some braces, but he also needs a little work of putting his head down. Should he put the head down first or work on the braces first? And that's a great question, because the order in which you do things is pretty important. And that's, I'm sure, why she's asking. You're going to find a horse, once their feet are freed up, they're more inclined to be able to do anything. Everything gets better. So if I have a horse that's tough to bridle or hard to put their head down, the first question I'm going to ask is, how freed up are his feet? I've had dozens and dozens of horses that were maybe touchy about their head, or worried about their head. Maybe somebody had even eared them down or done some idiotic thing like that. And so, rather than just address or attack the ear, which they'll feel a lot of times like you're attacking it, really free up the feet and let them feel like they're getting a good success. When you free up the feet, it has an effect on the mind of everything being easier to deal with. So I would definitely free up the feet first. Carmel, I'd definitely have C pluses or better on all 4 corners. Be really attentive to those front ends, knowing that it's a halflinger cross. The halflingers are a little drafty, and so they're inclined to go to a brace kind of quick. So very likely whoever worked with the horse prior to you probably put some braces in there that you're going to want to kind of undo. So free up those feet, and then make sure you got your horse backing up good by the halter knot. I think Donna said it was backing up okay, if I got my horses straight. But then work on putting the head down. So I work on everything after the feet are freed up. So it's sort of like the frame of mind. And I have a couple of my childhood teachers that are still alive, and I definitely need to go back, and I'm sure I owe them more than one apology. But I can only imagine what I was like when I was coming in summer, at the end of summer, beginning of fall, coming back to school. Because I was probably pretty feral and well behaved. We had rules. There was no doubt about that. But the thing about it in the summertime is anytime you want to move your feet, you move your feet. And so coming into school probably felt very confining to me. And so I imagine those first couple of weeks with my teachers, what they were trying to do is get my mind centered enough so then I could sit in the classroom and they could teach me. And so I imagine those first few recesses were pretty important. I think recesses are important for all kids, but especially for us. We got out there and we moved our feet. Steve Hadley talks about doing that with his employees. And move your feet, and it helps your mind settle, and that's the purpose for that. And I'm sure that looking back, there was a lot of psychology involved with getting a bunch of these whole grade 5 or 6 or 7 of us ranch kids coming back from town from a summer off, and took the art of getting us settled. And it's sort of the same thing. You want to free up the feet, and that has a relaxing effect on the mind. Then you can become teachable. Then you can become, then I'm present in the classroom. But if I'm sitting in the classroom and all I can think about is being outside and looking out through the window, the greatest teacher in the world is going to have to make an adjustment to get me in there. So get to the mind through the feet, and then address your teachings. What else, hon? What do you want to do next? Do you want me to get back to my track? Okay, back to my track. If you look straight back behind me right to the right of that barrel, or in line with that barrel, you'll see a black roping dummy, plastic. It has the shape of a calf. So we put the round pen in different places. It's down there in that corner right now. And so when I first put Dempsey in there, if you think about the round pen being round and that roping calf was right here, he thought it might be alive. He wasn't sure. he'd come around the round pen and he'd cut across. And he'd come around, he'd cut across. And he'd come around and cut across. And I didn't make a big deal about it at first. As long as his feet were moving and I could free up his feet, get some transitions up and down, that wasn't a hill to die on. But what's been happening with him is he's not searching for more answers. He's not in a place where he's trying to search and work his way through it. He's open to suggestion. So he would always go in and have you can almost chalk the line his first trip across there where his feet were going to go about 2/3 of the way across the round pen. And so I don't need to go into the details of how I did it because there's some nuances there that wouldn't make any sense just in a video like this. But essentially I worked on the principle of making the wrong thing difficult and the right thing easier, and I had him move his feet, and I set it up where he got a chance to take a little break over by that calf. And it took me probably 20 minutes. And that's the day he broke a sweat. And by the time we were done, he was standing as if I was going to get on from the fence next to the calf. So he was 1 foot away from the fence, which is now 4 feet away from that calf. He's just across the fence, that rope and dummy. And he was looking at it not like he was going to die for the first time. So I thought that's probably a pretty good thing. Interestingly enough, the next ride was softer. He was a bit softer the next ride. And then and this is my first ride after that. And so anyhow, today I just saddled him up. I don't even know if I moved his feet. He was okay enough where I could put the saddle on, took him round pen. I took him a lap each direction, did a walk trot transition, maybe a canter, I can't remember. And first time I cut the round pen, he cut across his old set of tracks, 2/3 on the way to the round pen to the calf. So I put him in that routine again, and within 2 trips in the round pen, he was standing next to it again. So elapsed time was about 90 or 120 seconds. 2 minutes, probably at the most, 90 seconds. And that's all I did. I put my snaffle bit on, I got on, and I just pitched him his head. I was in the round pen, and I let him cut that set of tracks out, and I just kept him a little bit busy like you would a barn sour horse. Anybody that's done that knows exactly what I'm talking about. And within another 60 seconds, we were standing as if he'd got on from the fence. So a little bit of a breakthrough. Great. Wrong thing difficult, right thing easy, adjust to fit the situation, all those things. Nothing miraculous, just helping him find a way to think his way through it. But the interesting thing is, I rode out of the round pen, came down to where Donna was turning the camera on, picked up on 2 reins, and he was as soft as he's been except one time. So nothing new there, but if you can turn on the think, you can get them looking for solutions, you can free up the feet. Now they're going to start to figure out how to get away from those situations where they're putting so much pressure on the bridle, because they don't like it any more than I do. So that leads me to a question that Linda, our good friend Linda, sent us. And she said she was watching the video, and I was riding this horse. I was tracking left on him, and I was doing a downward transition in about the size of a round pen, a 40 or 50 foot circle. And I was talking, and I think even in that video, I might have said it wrong. I said half a sentence. I was trying to get him to get soft. He was very heavy in my hands. And then through the entire downward transition, he was heavy in my hands. So probably was 40 to 70 pounds in that transition. He was leaning on that snaffle. And so Linda asked a really good question. She asked, what about the timing of that? And so here's my answer. When you have that much pressure on your hands, your best option is to release at the right time. I can't put more pressure on him there and probably do him any good. I can put enough pressure on him to get him to search for an answer, but when he got soft, I turned loose. And so the timing is not so set. I'm not thinking about timing up with a foot. I'm not thinking about a particular part of a stride. I want him straight, of course, like always. But I also I'm kind of ended up in that deep, deep, heavy pressure. And there's not much I can do about that. So I just hold and wait. And when he comes off it, then I release. And that's when I start. And of course, the next time I ride him off, as far as I'm concerned, he's like a spade bit bridle horse, his softness. I give him that sort of a benefit of the doubt. And then if he's there, great. If he's not, I'm never disappointed, and I'm always prepared mentally. So that's the timing. Sometimes you just get in and up, and all you can do is just hold till you get a better moment and release for it.
Show a little of that timing?
I'm sure I could do it. I'm sure it'd be very easy to show that right now. So Shet, you want me to go ahead and do that? All right. So I have a riding plan. I'm going to rock him back, and I'm going to reach his left front. Pretty sluggish, and there he's leaving. He's leaving like a snail. So first thing I want to do is make sure he's straight, and the second thing I want to do is get him forward. And he's already looking for a place to pull. So let me do that right now. Now there's 20 pounds, 30, 10, release. Okay, no further out. Okay, so he went 20, 30 pounds. That's a lot better than 70, but it's a start. It is a start. We'll do this left again now. I'm going to ask him to go forward, seat, and leg. Now that's not a random moment I'm asking. I got his bite there. He's looking for pressure. Pressure. And there's my release. Now I'm rocking back, flow the feet, get a little something on this top line, and there's my second release. I would say, I can't use the word never, but rarely will you see me stop, get a soft feel, and go right into my backup. Once in a while, if they're escaping, you'll see that happen, but the majority of the time, what you're going to see me do is roll in, get a soft feel, there, release, and then ease back into those reins and get a second soft feel to get the flow backwards. So those two soft feels are really important. Now he needs to be forward. That's like a little joggy kind of a trot. Don't care much for that. There's a soft feel. Now we'll ask for transition 3, 2, 1. There's a trot. Certainly nothing to brag about. And halt. Soft. There's my soft. And there's my backup. Now that's about 6 ounces on my pressure on my hands. Not bad. The shape of his neck isn't too bad there. It's not perfect, but it's certainly better than it was. You'll notice he's starting to lift his neck a little bit more, and his pole is not too much lower than his third right now, where at first his pole was lower than his third every time. He's breaking at the second and the third. So I can live with that. Okay, now I'm going to rock him back. Here's my riding plan. I'm going to open up my left side, close my right. There's my left front reach. Now let's change directions. Now the first thing I want him to go, but I got to get him straight. There, now we can go. Asking this horse to go forward without getting him straight first is asking for trouble. There's the first decent transition we've had. Soft feel, halt, halt, heavy, 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 30 pounds. There's my zero, my release, and there's my release. So we're doing a lot of this, a lot of repetition. As he gets more solid, I've got 4 or 5 more rides here before I get on the road and take a week off. So the 2 of the things that I'm going to be working on, particularly, is having him leave and stay straight on his arcs, or stay balanced, I should say. Like that's really nicely balanced on the arc. I want that to be a way of life. Instead, especially when he gets over here by these calves, there he's inverted. He's dropping his shoulder and bulging his rib. Okay, I want him to find the straightness. I can straighten him. There's no doubt in my mind I can do that. But what I need to do is I need to have the straightness start to be his idea. So there he's trying to invert, and there he's straight again. And as he starts to get more and more connected to my seat and legs, I'll be able to do a lot less with my reins and a lot more with my legs and seat. I love that blowing. That's a big deal. I mentioned Dr. Gerd Hirschman, someone that I admire his work. He's done a lot of good for people. And I was at a clinic that he was doing on time. I think I was talking about it recently. And he's stretching these horses. He's riding and stretching. And they start blowing like that. They start to relax. They start to blow. And he said a very funny saying. And Garrett, I've stolen this saying, and I've used it 1,000 or more times. And that is, every time they blow like that, when they're doing that, the Germans say they're bringing you flowers. And I love that saying. I love that concept of it being a gift. There's my soft. And now a back up. I'm going to come around there, and I'm going to pick his neck up there. I'm going to come around and line up on the camera. Whoa. So now, let's see. I would rather send her a picture than he's fragile enough. I don't want to do an example on him because he's just that fragile and he spent too much time there anyhow. So now basically the head, let's say he's going this way. Here's the line of his forehead. There's your vertical line. Anytime it's on the vertical, or I would say behind it a few degrees towards his chest, that's behind the vertical, behind the bit. What I would like him to do is have his neck up a little bit and be slightly ahead of the vertical, just a few degrees. That would be ideal for his physical presence to be able to get to the feet and eventually become collection. So he's just fragile enough. I don't want to. I can put him behind the vertical. I just don't think it's fair. He's just starting to come into some softness there, and I don't want to betray that. So Sanaya knows exactly what I'm talking about. So now, when I'm backing up, what I start to do is I'm up on my seat bones. I'll open my lower leg. I'll exaggerate it a little bit. There's my soft feel. Now we'll go forward. And we'll sit down and stop. And I'm going to back again. You'll see my leg. I'm an open leg guy when I'm backing my horses. So there's a chance just to kind of see me. I'll do it one more time, but I'll really exaggerate my legs. That's way more than I would need to do. And there's my flow. Okay.
So Margaret Hickton
Mm-hmm.
asked a question.
Margaret?
Can you elaborate on what you mean by free up the feet?
Sure. Great question, Margaret. What does free up the feet mean? I'll do his left side first. Freeing up the feet. I'm going to come in here and come across the middle of the ring there. Freeing up the feet can be illustrated by the way this foot moves. So I'm going to take and step his hindquarter over and watch his left hind cross in front of his right hind, right there. I'm going to get another one. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to have the right hind, inside hind, cross in front of the left hind, right there. There's my step, okay? The right hind today is freeing up a fair bit better than the left hind. I'm getting at least a half letter grade better. This is what we talk about untracking, and in order to step through there correctly, rhythmically and deep and smooth, they have to be turned loose through their spine. So when a horse gets worried, their mind gets tight, their back gets tight, and it changes the flight of the feet. When the horses start to relax, it changes their mobility, or what we talk about their suppleness. So we use suppling exercises to help our horses relax, and then we monitor the progression of the untracking of the hindquarters. Okay? Now, I'm trying to think what angle would be best for this. I think I'm going to just come in straight at the camera. Now I'm going to be sideways. That's going to be better. Now, front feet. I want my left front foot to reach out and back. Right there. Okay? Right front, out, and back. There's my step. Those are the steps that are the critical steps that tell me my front quarters are freed up. What I don't want is my front feet to reach out and ahead. Like that. Okay? Out and ahead. There's no commitment to being freed up when they're doing that. If I can get my foot to reach out and back, basically on a 45 to his spine, here it comes, left front. There's my step. You can see the left's a little bracing today, though he's not warmed up. I'll give him some credit. I'm not being critical of him. But you'll find that if you can untrack the hindquarters, and that specifically is a step we call a reach. A reach is out and back. If I can get my horse to reach his right front out and back, I can get to reach anywhere on this spectrum. Okay, so it's a catch-all. Untrack the hinds, reach the front feet. That's what we mean by that. And that process starts the first time I put my hands on a baby. I'm going to be thinking about those feet. Won't be asking for much, but I'll be thinking about it. And it ends up, I work on freeing up those feet every time I interact with that horse until he's no longer mine, or I bury him. And the only exceptions would be a horse that's really arthritic, that no longer has that range of motion in the joints, an old timer. And then I'm a little bit more likely to not pay attention to that. So the freeing up the feet is a lifelong process, and I work on it every day. And if I can get this foot hindquarter to untrack, and I can get this foot to reach, I've got the basic elements to start to work on what will eventually become collection. So that's a great question.
Can you talk about your 1%?
Sure. So most of the people I deal with, the horse people I deal with, including myself, are a combination of two very specific things. One is we're probably raging perfectionists. Most of the horse people, it's funny, I'd like to do a sociological test across a spectrum of people. I think there's going to be more raging perfectionists among horse people than your average demographic. The other thing is once people start to understand, well, first of all, we're doing this because we love horses. So there's a motivation there. We love horses. And then once we start to find some answers and it starts to work, you get very excited and you get very optimistic about the outcome of a ride and what you can get done with your horse, and you start to see the possibilities. And so that can result in us becoming overbearing on our horses through enthusiasm. We can be so excited to ride and think we ask too much of our horses. So to combat our raging perfectionism and our tendency to overdo things, ask too much of them, try to get too much done, I developed a theory, and I talk about this a lot. And when I'm talking about it, you ever heard that saying, I teach what I most need to learn? Well, when I'm teaching this theory, I'm telling me too, I'm talking to me too, because I'm still susceptible to that. But I try to get every day where I get a 1% improvement on my horse. If I try to get a 30% improvement on my horse, oftentimes my horse feels every try that they give me, I ask for more, and it feels very unfair. So that's the way I combat that mentally. It's there. Now, once in a while, when you're working along and you're getting a 1%, and then all of a sudden, like the other day in the round pen, I had more than a 1% change. But those just happen. But I try not to make them happen. I just let them happen. So I'm always working with that in mind, because I find that I was putting too much pressure on my horses via expectation, because I knew what they could do. So that's how I combat myself. That's how I take care of myself.
We're going to go back to the front feet with Jean Audette.
Great, Jean.
She said, what happens if the horse crosses his feet on the front feet?
Okay, great question. She says, what happens when the horse crosses his feet on the front feet? So if he's doing this just right, I'm going to reach the right front out, and I'm going to get the left front to cross over in front. So right front, left front. Good. We'll do it again. Rocking back, right front, left front. That means he's appropriately balanced. Okay? That's what I want as an end result. But it's not all I do. So, Jean, you and I have talked about this before. I'm pretty sure. I know Cindy has. Some of those gals up at Steph's clinic, some of you guys have been with me a long time. We've talked about this. And that is an exercise where now I'm going to take the left front foot. I'm going to go the same direction just because I'm oriented that way. I'm going to go the same direction. I'm going to put the left foot behind a time or two and then put it in front a time or two for practice. So behind, behind, behind. He's going to be behind and now in front. And now I didn't like the balance. I didn't like where it went, so I stick with it. There it is. I had to kind of move his rib over with my right leg. I'll do it again. Left front behind, left front behind, left front in front. There. Now I'm starting to get some control of his feet. That's a polishing exercise, which in the end result, Gene, is I can get this left front to reach anytime I need it and get that right front to cross. There's my cross. So I hope I didn't get my lefts and my rights mixed up there. It's very possible. This is where the translate Greg into English is very helpful. So you want to be able to put that front foot behind or in front at will. And what that does is get to where you can put it across in front and have your horse more balanced and more powerful. So there's your turns on a trail, turn around on a tight trail, turn on a cow, the beginning of your canter pirouette, those kind of things. So that's what we refer to the reach, and then crossing over. Okay, good.
Two questions that are a little bit similar.
Okay.
So we've got Amy Howard.
Yep. Amy.
Has, any tips for your approach to restarting horses after the winter? Or just a pep talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Sanaya said, so I'm bringing my mare back into work. Should I just do groundwork, or can I do groundwork and ride?
Okay. So Amy and Sanaya had related questions.
So what exercises should I be doing to help her get started?
All right. So let me combine it into one thing. Coming out of winter, and some of these guys, we sent some of you folks a challenge out to show us your hindquarters, and we got some in there. And there's some of you guys did a really good job because you're basically had your ice skates on and you were doing it anyhow, but you were working according to condition. But here's my theory. When my horses are pretty good, when they're dialed in, I always expect my horse to be a little rusty on the first half of the first day. So it takes me half a ride to get my horses dialed in. So I give them a little latitude. I don't need 2 weeks. One ride, maybe 2 rides. When I brought him back in, I didn't have very many rides on him, but it was a couple of days before I had anything dialed in on him. So give yourself a reasonable time and allow your horse to be a little like I was when I came in from summertime in Wisdom, Montana Elementary School. A little feral, you know. Now, that doesn't mean you're excusing bad behavior. They still have to behave. They still can't be disrespectful on the halter. But our good friend Hillary, she posted a great one this week, and she was posting her horse Bert, and in part of the post, I think Bert's feet were in the air more than they were on the ground. But Hillary kept working at it, and then a couple posts later, he was yawning and his feet were starting to free up. So here's the way I do it. I bring my horse in. Usually I won't even saddle him. I'll just do a couple lead bys. If I've got C pluses or better on my hinds and my front feet, then I go ahead and saddle. If my C pluses hold, I'll probably ride. If I come in and they're lower than C pluses, I'm going to work a little bit longer. Or if I saddle and they fall apart, I'm going to rework those until I get better grades. Then I'm going to get on and ride. So ideally, when your horses are pretty dialed in, 15, 20 minutes on the ground, I might go to the round pen and do some transitions like I did on Dempsey Day. I'm certainly not above doing that. Making sure they can walk, trot, canter, and their up and down transitions are fine. Then I'll put a ride on them, and I'll do pretty much everything on my ride that I had them doing, let's just say in the fall when you turned them out. So let's say you got a horse that's coming along, he's getting really soft, you pick up soft feel, a trot, and a canter, and you're getting a pretty good shoulder in and a pretty good leg yield, okay? I'm going to pick up a soft feel. I'm going to make sure those hindquarters are freed up. When rain stops, I'm going to rock back and reach, do some turns on the haunches or hindquarter, front quarter, dial my horse in. If he's dialed in, I'll pick up a soft feel. If he melts in my hands, I might ask for a step of shoulder in, or I might ask for a step of leg yield. Where in the fall, I might have been going 10, 12 steps. I'm still going to get the same level of collection. They just can't do it as long, but they'll be doing it out of sheer effort, not out of physical strength. They're not fit. So I ask them, I challenge them just a little bit, but mostly I want those first 2 rides them to feel like they're winners. Their feet are freed up, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember what it's like to be back in school again. So use your exercises, free up the feet, and then get on and ride hindquarter, front quarter, when rain stops, walk, trot transitions. There'll be a little more canter work when your horses are ready. If your horse is a little further along, you're probably going to do a little canter work the first day. So that's what I like to do. And I kind of let my horse set the pace. But if it takes too long in the spring to get my horse dialed in, I probably didn't get him strong enough on the fundamentals in the fall before I turned him out. So I hope that answers both your gals' question. There were some good videos people sent in, and Hillary's horse was just really acting up, beside himself. And had it been anybody else, I wouldn't have laughed. But with Hillary, she's pretty handy. She's got a great attitude. And she did the same thing. She was kind of laughing at him. he was jerking her out of her tracks every once in a while and hitting the end of the road. He's off the track thoroughbred, so he knows a little about pulling too. But by golly, she got him dialed in, and I saw some really nice moments.
You
So,
haven't ridden him, have you?
Bert? No, I think you rode him once, didn't you?
Yeah, I ridden him a couple times.
Yeah, he was a little hard. So,
Mark and Mari Edmond.
okay.
Hi.
Hi, Mark and Mari.
Mark says, I still use the red ribbon on my right wrist.
I'll be darned. Yeah.
Mari said.
Mari. Yeah. Yeah. So that's something that I picked up a long time ago. Is there's a lot of people whose wiring in their brains is struggle sometimes. One of them can come up as some dyslexia, and dyslexia can come up in little bitty things like I'm not really dyslexic, but I get tired. I'll say some words backwards, or I'll write a couple letters backwards. There's a couple small things. So maybe if I was ever tested slightly dyslexic. The problem was at my age, somebody that was highly dyslexic was taught like they were developmentally disabled, like there was something wrong with them. And everybody I ever met that had a high degree of dyslexia was really gifted somewhere else in their life. So you kind of get robbed on the left-right stuff. Generally, you got something else that makes up for it. So at that point, the dyslexia is a management tool. And so what she's returning to is a lot of times when someone's got some dyslexia and I'm teaching, if I say right, their entire hard drive of their computer is used up in trying to figure out which the right and left is. And sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to sort it out. And they feel like they're under pressure. It can feel really uncomfortable to them. When in reality, I just want them to change directions. And so what I've done for many years is I carry red wristbands in my sound bag. And if I find someone that has a little bit of dyslexia, we just throw that red wristband on. And from that time forward, we turn to the red side or the other side. And that I kind of learned from my friend Tammy White, because she's dyslexic, and she's one of those that's got the struggle with the left-right, but it's got the gifts as well. But whenever she rides, she always rides with her lariat rope on her saddle. And so for 20 years, Tammy's been always turned to the rope side or turned to the other side. And it completely frees up her hard drive for the exercise in her horse. So it's just a coping mechanism that's really handy. And what it ends up doing is it ends up helping people relax. And then they can hear better, they can feel the horse better. So it's a relaxing tool to them as well. It has a couple of different benefits, but one of them is they don't feel like they're under so much pressure trying to sort stuff out. And it's a really good management tool. And we all got our deal. You know, if you don't have dyslexia, you got something else. There's nobody that doesn't struggle with something. So, you know, I've had a good friend this week, and she's been struggling with some just anxiety. And we had to kind of talk her off the ledge a little bit about just reminding herself what she's capable of. When she gets anxious, she forgets how amazing she is. So we all deal with different things. Some health problems, some wiring problems in your brain. Dyslexia is a really common one. So those are coping mechanisms. And the main thing is just to sort of, I don't know, whatever it is, laugh about it, move on, and kind of enjoy it. Kind of enjoy your time and use these coping mechanisms. So I've used that red wristband for years. I've even had people that were so struggling on the ground, and I got in my travel bag, my sound bag, I got a red fingernail polish. It's not for me, but if I have somebody that's really struggling, I can put a couple red dots on the foot of their horse's right feet, and I've done that before too. And again, that takes away all the pressure and allows them to start to calculate and think and put that energy into the exercise in their horse. So it comes in varying degrees. We all have something.
So Steve Hadley wants to see you rope the black calf that's in front of your horse. Which I can only assume is the shadow, or is there a joke going on?
The black what?
Black calf.
He's probably talking about that thing right there, the black poodle.
She hasn't moved, has she?
She came out here and said hi to Dempsey. So Steve's probably talking about this fancy dog we got here. What do they call these in Alabama? Those Alabama collies called her a $high dollar dog. Yeah, $high dollar dog. I can't say it the way they say it, but so
who's laying in the dirt.
laying in the dirt. Yep. Doing what dogs do best.
Linda loves Dempsey's ability to stay in his soft focus even when working off.
Yeah, I think it's changing, Linda. It makes me hopeful because he is, and Linda she's sort of the master of this, and she's actually the one I stole this term from.
Laura's here too.
And okay, and Linda would talk about a horse looking at something with a hard stare or a hard focus as being a stressful base look versus a casual stare, which is softer, and that's what she's talking about. So he's even looked at the calves moving a little bit and not gotten too sideways about it today. So that's a big change. And I think as his feet are freeing up, he feels less defensive. He starts to feel like I'm a team member, like I'm on his team, and we're doing this together, and that he can trust me and follow my leadership. And as a result, he's starting to let down and not feel like he has to keep track of so much around him. The other thing with Dempsey is he's definitely used those kind of things as a tool to avoid working. He can jump sideways pretty good with some of the best of them, and a lot of times it's a way of just getting out of work, and it's worked for him. So it's a form of resistance, but it's also there's genuine some unsureness there. But I think he's doing well because he's changing it. I love this expression. He's the fuzzy sofa today.
So, I love this next question.
Okay, we got a great question coming up.
Amy Howard.
Amy.
One of the horses she's been working with, when asked to back up, is really throwing their head up instead of moving their feet.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips on how to smooth this out?
So the horse she's working with is exhibiting some braces, and when she sees it, when she's backing it up, it really throws its head up in the air. And what tips do I have? Well, I know this sounds a little like broken record, but Amy knows what I'm talking about. Make sure those hind quarters or C pluses are better. Make sure the front quarters or C pluses are better.
This is its groundwork.
Groundwork, okay. When horses don't know what to do with their feet, their head goes in the air. And that's a great rule of thumb to stick in your pocket and keep it there. So I saw this video, this guy that was working in the round pen, and he didn't like where his horse's head was. So he had one of 1,000 types of gimmicks where he was taking something from the bit of the horse through the front legs to tie or force his horse's head into position. That's just coercion. That's not anything soft. So when a horse, his head is going up, it's likely based in lack of freedom of movement. It also can be a habit. But sometimes you might have to go try to do something different. Like sometimes, Amy, like those horses are really braced up when you back up. I get to doing that wiggle and the wave because nobody's ever really done that successfully with them. And I get them really soft with that. And so I get them where I can back up, where my hand just goes from here to here from 10 feet away, and I can get them to back up. Then the next thing I do is I take a hold of that halter knot, and they tend to give me a little bit more of a try, a little bit more. So I would say over prepare the quarters. Go 20% more than you think you need, maybe 30, maybe 40, and then come back and work on it. It's probably a combination of a brace and a habit. And then always, as always, make sure you're releasing it the right thing. So, and then a lot of times you'll see me, I'll take my hand on the bottom of that halter rope and I'll run my hand side to side, get my horse to back up. And I'll literally run that halter rope, that noseband over their nose a little bit as I wiggle that knot back and forth. And that rope creates a little friction on their nose. When I was a kid, I grew up with older brothers and sisters, so I knew all about what a noogie was. When I grew up, they'd stick me in the headlock and take their knuckles and rub me in the hair and give me a noogie. Sometimes you got to kind of get a little firm there and put a little pressure on him for him to get to start to search. I've picked up on him many times 50 pounds on the end of that halter, really taking a hold firm, but I end up soft. That's the key. It's not how much pressure I put up, it's how soft do they end up. So I end up soft.
It's happening with the wiggle and wave.
Okay. I wonder if she missed her opportunity or she's just dealing with a big fat brace. Is this that Haflinger cross?
No, that was Carmel.
Oh, Carmel had the Haflinger cross, yeah.
So she might say here.
I'm wondering if that's... you might kind of have to get out of the box, do things a little differently. There's some times when I'll take a hold, and I don't really advocate, I don't really like when people do this, But I've taken the base of my flag and tapped them on the chest a little bit to help them out, or the bottom of my rope. Just something to break those feet loose. And then make sure you're rewarding for the smallest try. And then the other thing, and I've talked about this with everybody that's worked with me over the years, those kind of horses can make you crazy. Don't buy into the drama. Don't let them, you know that, I'm trying to think of the name of the guy. He who angers you conquers you. Don't let them get you. Don't let them get you angry. Good decisions are never made when you're angry, especially with horses and people. And so stay quiet, stay open, stay detached, and do as much pressure as you need to get it done. There's been times, if I ever rubbed a little raw spot on their nose? Yeah, I have. It's not something I would say I'd want anybody to ever do or have to do, but there's been times horses were so pushy that I had to firm up on them enough times where it rubbed a little hair off. And that should be a one-time thing. That should never happen again. But I don't do it the first time, but sometimes just a little extra friction, you'll get a little raw spot there. And it's not the pain that's doing it.
It's with her Morgan, and it showed up this winter.
Oh, interesting, with her Morgan, because her Morgan's was trying to get soft. I'm thinking back to the last time I saw your horse last fall. There was probably some chronic braces there through those ribs when you were riding. Probably did a lot of work on it. Again, you know, my long-term recall isn't that great, so take this with a block of salt. But very likely, I'd free those feet up. I'd make sure that I got the hind. Okay, let me talk about the hindquarters. I want you to do lead bys with a flag, lead bys with a coat where you're tapping them over, bumping them off the stirrups of your saddle. Put your saddle on, bump them off. The coils of your rope, use your thumb. Every one of those ways, get those hindquarters freed up, get them soft. And on that horse, I would bump as far forward as this where my stirrup is to get to the left hind, and as far back as this to get to the left hind. Well, I'll be darned, look at that guy. Huh, look who's with me. Nice. That's worth the day right there. That's the first time he's ever really responded to that.
Got the alien eye flick.
Yeah. He actually was getting prepared to step over for the first time, who I would call honest. Really a good effort. And he was pretty sleepy there, so I like that. I like what he's doing with his expression here. So get that horse to where you have any range of motion with any item. You know, I'll use the coils of my lariat rope a lot. And but get him to where to step over, but get to where you can bump him, like right here at the girth, and get that left hind. And then just start over. And then if you're still stuck, probably the best thing would be to have Brett do a quick video and have me send me a 2-minute video of the horse trying to back up and your lead bys. And we'll see if we can troubleshoot it if you're stuck on that. Sometimes we can just do a quick video and see that. So Brett could probably do that for us. I like this. I like this expression.
Well, we're at 4:50, so we've done our 45 minutes.
Okay, man. Time's fun when you're having flies, huh? I can't believe that 50 minutes have gone by. Okay. The production manager says it's time to wrap it up. Director, producer, cameraman, chief cook and bottle washer, head dog trainer says it's time to wrap it up. Good questions, you guys. Good stuff. I know most of you guys that were sending stuff in there, I kind of know where your horses are. So if I missed anything, get a hold of me and we'll talk about it. Lastly, I know everybody's time on a Saturday afternoon, probably got a lot of stuff going on. So the fact that you're with me, I know you're dedicated. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your dedication to the horse and your commitment to the program. So thank you for your time. I really, really am thankful. We're blessed for that. And we'll talk to you. We'll probably do another one of these in between on a clinic break here. I gotta go down the road next week to New Jersey to see Lexi and Dana in Stockton, New Jersey. see my friends there, and then I'll be home. So on that trip home, and here probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll do another one of these. If we have the interest and people want to keep doing it, if it's beneficial, let us know. If it's a waste of your time, let us know that too. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.